Desire shrinks you. Love expands you. Watch this live, and you'll never shrink who you are again. Because tonight, you finally learn how to live a life you actually love. See, you've been taught that the way to freedom is to chase that one thing you want most. Oh, yes, tonight we're talking about ambition. You've been taught to chase the money, the relationship, the status. But what if every time you reach for that one thing, your world becomes smaller? Your breathing grows tighter. Stress strangles your neck like the world is closing in. And slowly, without noticing, you shrink who you are. On tonight, our goal is expansion. Our goal is to talk about that which takes us beyond all desire so that we can live the life we actually want. I'm talking about taking you beyond desire so that you can live the life you actually love. So let's get to it. If you're ready to live free beyond fear, welcome here. I'm Dr. Shawn, and I believe you do not need years to heal. You just need one real breakthrough. That's why I invented Transcendent Psychology, and I test it in the real world, on real people, on my game show, Countdown to Breakthrough, the only game show that heals your soul. Right now, you're on the Breakthrough Live, where we break down the science of healing so you get your own breakthrough. Live. On tonight's show, we're talking about the limits of ambition. We're talking about moving beyond desire. Straight up, we're talking about how to live the life you actually love, not just the one you think you want. There's a difference. Ooh, there's a difference. As always, let's open up the show with a clip from Countdown. This clip, I meet a young man on the street who's dealing with this ambition issue. Let me jump right into this. That's going to tee up our lesson. Let's go ahead and get to moving.
Trying to pursue a better life. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, oh, you're saying sometimes
Like
your own
chasing
ambition.
money.
Yeah, okay, your own ambition can sometimes get in the way.
For sure.
Okay, well, so when did you notice? When did you notice that the ambition was actually getting in the way? Because typically we tend to say you're ambitious. Wonderful. We tend to want people to be ambitious. We're kind of trained and raised to be that way.
Mm.
But you started noticing that wait, this money chasing thing is getting in the way somewhere. Where did that happen?
Like a lot of people ain't on that, so I might push a lot of people away with that. You see what I'm saying?
By saying, hey, look, you can do better than the $60,000 a year at a job that they're trying to pay you at.
But they cool with it. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, no. They understand, I understand, you understand.
Yeah.
Like, you're saying it really is about you're trying to force people to evolve before they're ready.
For sure.
Okay, and you're saying that. When did you notice that become an issue?
When I started pushing people away.
Who was the person that you were like? Who was just like, man, I can't even fuck with James no more?
And I wasn't even on that. It's just like friends and stuff. Like that's all I talk about, like money and how to get money and da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I'm in the park. What's today? Saturday. But I be in the park every day, but they be at work. So I be like, you can live like this too. And I feel like that pushed them away, like that scared them type. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what, they don't call as much anymore?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we just saw was James talking about what happens when he chases the money. What happens when he's paper chasing? When his very ambition has created a life for him that is pushing away the people that he loves, the people that he was close to. It's like in a way James is trading his relationships at the current moment for this new life. And sometimes that comes with the territory. But the problem is when we do not recognize that in the very pursuit of the cash, of it could be a relationship, it could be just of status, just being seen differently. In the very pursuit of our desire, of our one thing, we trade in the very things that make life actually worth it. Now, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that as you elevate in life, your friendships and your relationships aren't going to change. They definitely are. But are you putting enough time, enough attention into all of the facets of your life, or are you just focused on that one thing, that one goal, that one situation? Before I jump into this, the deal is that if you have to trade a life that you love just to get something you think you want, to me, that's not good enough. I want it all. But I know of only one thing that can give me the all in all, that can give me everything at once. Oh, I got something for you tonight. But before I keep going, let me shout out the folks in the room. Twin, I see you. Welcome in. He's saying evening all. Twin, his twin. Good evening. Good evening. It's the other twin. Always like to say, twin, a great, great, great. Felicity, welcome in. Excellent, excellent. Valente, welcome in. Okay. Sublime is up in this baby. Welcome in. Okay, folks. So here's what it is. I need to tell you about one of my biggest failures because I want to make sure that we're very clear on what tonight's topic is actually about. I can think of no better way than to articulate it this way. I got to tell you about one of my life's biggest failures. My biggest failure. One of them, anyway. So check it out. Because when I saw James on the street, the reason I was like, oh man, yeah, we all been there before, is because of this story I need to share with you right now. Where it's like you're trading value and valuable things for a narrow vision of the future, for something you think you want. Dude. So let me talk to you like this. After I retired in 2020, I started a project to help women in the culture with type 2 diabetes. I wanted to help them reverse the disease, just to heal it completely, right? And so I had like this whole mission being built out. I ended up and messed around, and I got New York Times best-selling physician Dr. Joel Furman to agree to do a podcast with me for a year and a half for free. Okay, I had software built. I had a network of doctors, dietitians, personal trainers. Dude, 300 new group members in a private Facebook group a month, 3,500 followers on the Facebook page. I had 5 interns, access to capital, the co-founder of Afrotech feeding me game on the weekly. I'm sorry, on the monthly. On paper, I looked unstoppable. I looked unstoppable. What I wanted to do was build a health empire while serving my community, while building generational wealth. What's not to like? What's not to like? And so, deep down, though, I wanted to live a full life that I'd be proud of. I wanted to live a full life that I'd be proud of when I died so that I could know that I meant something. You dig? I wanted to live a life that I actually loved, a life of purpose. That's what I was really after. If you get down to the nit grit of it, I wanted to show the world that I was bigger than they said I was. You dig what I'm saying? More than just a scholar, more than just a sales dude, more than just a, you know what I'm saying? But even as everything was growing, I felt empty. I just felt a whole bunch of pressure to make sure I'm serving and make sure I'm doing everything I need to be doing. I couldn't quit because I had this belief that, quitting was weakness. So I was like, I ain't quitting. I'm about to let's just go ahead and do this. And then whatever I want to do after that, I can do after that. I messed around and met Dwayne The Rock Johnson's chef, right, through some networking. And I was like, okay, well, shoot, yeah, I got the dietitians on board. I got the physicians on board. I got the personal trainers on board. I just need some chefs to kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like help make some of these meals more palatable. You know what I'm saying? Make them taste like how they need to, so that people stick with the plans and whatnot. And she took one look at my software. She took one look at the product, and she was like, "This ain't it." She said, "You did not put your heart into this. This is not great. You're holding a piece of yourself back, and I can see it when I look at this product." That blew me away. She said, "That's because the world is waking up." Her words pierced every illusion that I was carrying. I was like, yo, so you mean that you can see energy in the product itself? Ooh. Which made me question my alignment. What am I doing here? It wasn't but 2 days later, I'm on the phone with a client, and she's telling me about her husband. And he, bringing home snacks. And I was like, oh, girl, you know what? He better leave them chips at work. And I caught myself, and I was like, what am I doing? Who am I becoming? What are we doing? It's not the fact that it wasn't a noble mission. It was. It was the fact that my heart posture, the way that I was sitting in the situation, was driven by something that was not divine. It was driven by desire, driven by ambition. So it wasn't like I was just building the wrong business. I was becoming the wrong person, the wrong version of me. You feel me? And so I stopped everything. on air, right on the YouTube, you know what I'm saying? On YouTube video, I was like, hey, this is going to be our last meeting with Dr. Furman. And he was like, oh, what? All right. He was like, I mean, I'm kind of giving you, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of pads. Like this is the easiest. This is the easiest that's going to get. I sent recommendation letters out to my interns, and I plan to answer one question. What do I actually love? What do I actually love? That one question is the only thing that could take me beyond my own personal ambition. It's not about what I get or even what happens once I begin the journey. Once I'm working on a project, I start asking myself, okay, what is the energy with which I am working on a project? I need to know that because if I'm working with the right energy, I can deal with whatever consequences or rewards happen to come. But if working with the wrong energy, I'm producing nonsense that people can look at and be like, this ain't it. Not only am I not enjoying my time, I'm actually wasting my time. You dig what I'm saying? And so after I shut everything down, like there came a moment where I was like, okay, here comes that fear. What about all that generational wealth? What about the momentum? What about all the good I was supposed to be doing? You have an ability, why not use it in order to help people? It made intellectual sense. But love kept saying no, be still. Love kept saying no, be still. hmm I was fighting the ambition I had trained myself to have. Right, in order to do, PhDs and retire by 30, all that stuff. I mean, look, there's got to be a certain level of, at least I thought there had to be a certain level of ambition. I thought I needed to want it. So I was constantly getting after it in whatever domain I was taking part in, and I was getting after it instead of being who I actually am. I was getting after it instead of being who I actually am. These insights took me years, champ. And as I reflected on everything, everything's falling apart at this point. And as I'm reflecting, a thought came to me, and it was like, you know what? Most of my clients with type 2 diabetes didn't have a problem with diabetes. They actually had a problem with directing their own minds. And so my lifelong passion for consciousness, for transformation, for the inner world, okay, that lit up again. I was like, oh, having gone through this journey, I've learned something about myself. That's cool. Love reminded me of my true skill set, the one I had ignored in the name of ambition. Love reminded me of my true skill set, the one I had ignored in the name of ambition. I was just like James, which is why when he said, you know what I'm saying, like, yeah, I've been chasing money. I've been just kind of blinded by the ambition these other parts of my life kind of just, well, they kind of fell more flat. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I know what that's like. For James, that may not mean he may need to find new friends. You know what I'm saying? I have no idea what that means for him. My purpose is to get back in alignment with that source that already knows what to do. Instead of trying to become a slave to my own ambition, I'm telling you, I realized the real question of my life wasn't how do I build a business? It was how do I just do what I love right now? The real question wasn't how do I build a business? The real question was how do I do what I love in this very moment? Answering that question led me away from a business I did not love, and of course, toward the work that would become Transcendent Psychology, Countdown to Breakthrough, and yes, the Breakthrough Live as well. And so I learned one of the most important lessons. I learned that when you stop shrinking yourself to desires and start building your life from love, the real you finally appears. And so if you're understanding what I'm saying, put a yes in the chat. Put a yes in the chat. Because I'm telling you, that was one of my biggest failures. Like, how did you drop the ball on that one? You had everything lined up. Everything. Everything except the one thing that matters most. Did not have God alignment, did not have love frequency. When I say love, I'm talking about the end of separation. I'm talking about total oneness. I'm not talking about an emotion. I'm talking about the unitary force behind all existence. I'm talking about love as substance moving through you. Put yourself out of alignment with it. It don't matter what else you got aligned. It don't matter what else, bro. I'm telling you, access to like what? Like what? You have everything. You're in perfect position to make a run for, like you could say, like, yeah, like capital raising, we talk about, the Series A and all. So you can make your little run for being in the networks that provide the sort of capital that you're talking about, as long as you have the traction and you dig what I'm saying, the numbers and all that. And we were pacing for that. Pacing. I thought about that the other day. I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like without that mistake, I wouldn't have learned the most important lesson of my life. I wouldn't have understood that following this energetic sequence, this substance, it cannot be put off. You cannot wait and be like, oh, yeah, I'll get the paper first and then I'll do what I love. No, no, no. It compromises your ability to even get to the paper. I was not the one who could bring that organization forth. It doesn't matter that I had all of the skills, the know how, the connections, that I was the one who was a hustler. It didn't matter. Without having this unitary substance directing my steps, I simply ran out of gas. But see, that's what desire does, doesn't it? And ambition and desire is the same thing. That's what ambition does. That's what desire does. It has you shrinking, has you thinking about one narrow facet of life over and against all others, which means you can't even appreciate the unique gifts, inner and outer, that God has provided to you. When I say God, I'm talking about nature. I'm talking about the fabric of reality, not a guy in the sky. but you can't even appreciate the unique gifts that God has given to you because you're too dang focused on that one thing. You feel me? And so that sets up our conversation. King Wolf is in the chat. King Wolf is in the chat. Devontae, okay. Okay, definitely put your name in the chat so we can shout you out. He says, "Hello, I would like to thank the twins for allowing me to tune into your podcast." Okay, okay, the twins. Shout out to the twins. Okay, welcome in. King Wolf, they call him Devontae. Welcome in, welcome in. Excellent. Excellent. All right, all right, all right. So let's go ahead and jump to the breakthrough board because we got to break down this concept at this point. At this point, we do. I like teaching from principle. And so when we can understand the principles that govern our reality, then it becomes easy to navigate, becomes easy to move in the way that is unique and right for us at that particular moment in time. So I like teaching from principles. Jovan, Jovan in the building. Jovan, don't think we didn't see you. What's happening? Jovan says, "Hey, Shawn, excellent, excellent, excellent." Okay. King Wolf says his name is Devontae. Okay, okay, okay. Welcome in, Devontae. Excellent. Welcome in, Jovan. All right, let's get to it. So, let's give you some game, champ. I'm about to give you some game. Okay? That I'm about to give you some game. So watch this. Bro, dude, this right here took me years to understand. I'm about to go ahead and give you this game real quick because again, our principle for the evening is just this. This is the breakthrough board. Okay. Okay, Twin says drop it. School them. All right, so watch this. Our principle for the evening is this. Love This is what I need you to know. Mm-mm. Yeah. Love thinks in whole solutions. This is the part that I need you to know that love thinks in whole solutions. Okay. What's a whole solution? Whole solutions are the kind of solutions that bring answers to everything important in your life at that moment. So, our principle for the evening is that love thinks in whole solutions. We're about to get this. Oh, you're about to get this tonight. Love thinks in whole solutions. That's our principle. Watch this. We work from principle to pattern to path forward. I want to know the principle of a thing. I want to know the pattern behind it. And then I want to know the path forward. How do we move beyond? So our principle is that love thinks in whole solutions. And whole solutions are defined as the kind of answers to your problems that account for everything important to you at that moment in time. Love thinks in whole solutions. Need you to understand that. Here we go. Because now that we're understanding, okay, we have this principle that love thinks in whole solutions. We want to be able we want to make that solid. Like, what's that even mean? Well, We can understand that principle as we dive deeper into the pattern. We're talking about the pattern of thinking that makes the principle valuable in the first place. In this case, this is the pattern. The principle is that love thinks in whole solutions. Here's the pattern. The pattern is that desire shrinks you. Desire shrinks your thinking. Desire shrinks your perception. You start to get narrow minded because you're just looking at that one thing. You ever notice how when you want something, you want just that one thing? It becomes all consuming to you. It becomes a life of constantly chasing the paper, if that's what you're on. A life of constantly competing for status, a rat race. If that's what you're on, you understand. You get so narrow in your quest for the desire that you can no longer think in whole solutions, which means that desire creates partial solutions. You can put the equal sign here. Desire generates partial solutions. What's that mean? That means that in the money chase, you chase the money, but you give up your peace. You chase the relationship, but you give up your purpose. You chase the security and the safety of a comfortable job, but you give up your freedom. That's a partial solution. Why is that? Because you don't get everything when you're trying to chase desires. You can't get everything. The very act of you chasing the desire causes you to compromise other elements and aspects of your life, other things that make your life valuable. Right? So we're talking about desire and a valuable life, but the desire, it causes you to compromise, to trade one component of your life for some other. Let me know if this is making sense to you. Just put a yes, I understand in the chat. What I'm saying is, how many times have you watched somebody? James is a perfect example. He's chasing the money, got the money, but his relationships are now unattended to, which means he's walking in the park by himself, champ. I know something about that. The thing is that when you go ahead and retire at a young age, guess what? You about to be the only one, depending on who your circle is. If the crew did not elevate in the same way, well, they gotta be at work in the morning. You feel me? So James is out there with a basketball by himself, playing pickup games, but the people who matter most to him, they can't be with him. And even when he does join them, like, I ain't even trying to talk about that. The money chase has transformed James into a different sort of person. That could be a wonderful thing. But if he is not giving his relationships the time, the attention that they require, and that can just mean literally going and finding new people, or doing something different. But either way, if his relationships are unattended to, because he's been so busy chasing the paper, that even when he gets the paper, he can't even enjoy it with his people. I need you to put a yes, I understand. How many people do you know get the security of a job? They get the 6-figure gig. I knew a dude making 500 bands at making $500,000 a year as a software engineer for Amazon, right? The problem is that he never got to enjoy his salary because he was always on call. There was always a fire to put out. His desire to get the safety and security of a high paying gig made him trade off the very free time that he was hoping the high paying gig would afford him. You feel me? Somebody put a yes, I understand in the chat. That's why I'm saying this desire. We start chasing these desires. We start chasing these ambitions. Guess what? We start giving ourselves over to thinking that can only provide partial solutions. It's a partial solution. You can't call it a complete solution if I got to trade something that's important to me in order to get something that's important to me. Because people say, well, that's called sacrifice. It's like, no, dude, that's called not understanding how reality works. In my case, I was chasing this ambition of building generational wealth and getting, serving the community and doing all of these cool things, and I was putting it together, but I was only thinking in partial solutions. The product wasn't even that great because I could not bring myself to spending as much time as was required in order to build a quality product because I was too busy in my head thinking about how do I just satisfy this feeling of not being enough. See, I was thinking in partial solutions. That's why I had the desire in the first place. I wasn't thinking in whole solutions. I was thinking in partial solutions. I was thinking in the partial solution just means you got to trade something important in order to get something important. That's a partial solution. Because at the end of the day, you're left with an incomplete life. Money great, relationships terrible. Business great, purpose is missing. Relationships great, but life's still meaningless. You feel me? That's what the partial solution gets you. You get part of a solution. You don't get the whole thing, you get a part of a solution. Somebody let me know you understand before we go on to King What. So Devontae saying, yes, I understand. Absolutely. Great. Devontae saying, absolutely understand. Excellent. Sublime saying, lonely at the top, but does it need to be? Twin is saying, all too familiar with that. Shake my head. Say more, Twin. Say more. Twin saying, yes, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Excellent. So, okay, then here go Twin. There are two twins. You know what I'm saying? Two twins. The other one saying, I remember doing twins saying wanting is breaking your reality. That desire was more like not wanting, and it was shrinking every bit. So, right, that wanting is breaking your reality. This ambition, this desire, this constant need to get what you perceive you do not yet have is getting in the way of our very capacity to think in whole solutions. I don't want to be able to have a massive high salary, but no time with my children. I don't want to spend my life trying to serve the community, but never build something that's even worthy of giving them. These are partial solutions. It's straight nonsense. And so, okay, but we all fall into it though because we're taught that we need to be ambitious in order to be successful, that we need to want things. This is what we're taught. But we're only taught that because we do not recognize that were we to surrender ourselves over to a force that is greater than ourselves, then all necessary actions would be completed on their own. We would simply just do the things that are most important at that particular moment. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and talk about the path forward because we talked about the principle. The principle is that love thinks in whole solutions. We talked about the pattern behind this need to be ambitious, this need to constantly want things. The pattern being that desire shrinks you. The pattern being that desire forces your mind to think in partial solutions. The pattern is that desire gives you tunnel vision so that you're just focused on the thing you think you want, even if it means leaving out everything else that's actually important to you. And so, what we need to do now is talk about the path forward. So what's this look like? What's this look like? Because I'm tired of thinking in partial solution. Don't want a life where desire is constantly shrinking me down to a version of myself that I can't recognize. All because somebody taught me the wrong principles about reality? No, sir. No. So, what's our path forward? The path forward is very simple. Y'all ready? These are the pieces. I want to make sure y'all can see these. I almost got to make them a little bigger here just so you can see those for the one time. These are the pieces of your life. Just a bunch of squiggly lines. Let me go ahead and do it like this. So, here's the path forward. The path forward is to stop chasing the pieces and let love make you whole. The path forward is to stop chasing the pieces and let love make you whole. So, what am I saying? I'm saying that when you follow love, when you follow that actual feeling, what you might call highest excitement, when you have that inner click, that inner yes, that wait a minute, what's the thing that I would love to be doing right now? And you just go do that thing. No questions. You just go do that love thing. However big it is, however small it is. What you'll find is that love allows you to engage in an activity until it is time to stop, which means that there is a time for working a 2 hour day. There's a time for working a 16-hour day. But the energy that you're going to use to dictate when that time exactly is for you is not based off of a schedule or a to-do list or a should list. It's going to be based off of this deeper access point. You work your 16-hour day, and at the end of it, you feel energized. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I got to experience a day like that. Perhaps that next day is just all with the family. Whatever love is saying do. That's what you're doing for that day. But what you find is this. What you find is that love leaves nothing out. Everything that is important will still get done. And everything that is not important will wither on the vine. It doesn't even matter. If the relationships are important, love will tell you to pick up the phone, make the call, send the invitation, get the RSVP. It'll feel loving to do it. It'll feel great to do it. And simply put, if love does not say yes, then it's a no. If love does not say yes, then it's a no. Why? Because I know that if I leave the spectrum of love in order to try and engage in the world in the way that the world has conditioned me to, then I'm always trading one thing for another. I may get my health great, but the wealth dissipates. I may get the wealth, but my relationship dissipate. I'm always trading one thing for another. There's a partial solution. I can't live a whole life like that. Whereas when I am abiding in love, at every moment of the day, I have exactly what I want anyway. Because when you think about it, desire comes from a sense of fragmentation. Desire comes from a sense of lack, a sense of you do not yet have. But remember, love is wholeness itself, which means that the very fragmentation that you would need to have in order to desire, in order to chase after the pieces, that fragmentation gets dissolved. It gets fully absorbed. You're no longer thinking of yourself as an individual who needs all of these things. Now you're just someone who is expressing love. You're just doing what you love in this moment, and in the next moment, you're going to do something. You're going to do the exact same loving thing. The difference is that love will change the activity. So yes, in this moment, what I love to do is be right here on the Breakthrough Live with you. Love, once this moment is over, will have me go and do something else. Maybe it's go be in the next room with my daughter. Maybe it's go for a walk. Maybe whatever it is, it makes no difference. The very activity, however mundane or large, carries this scent. It carries this frequency. Like I just enjoy doing it for its own sake. There's no ambition in it, which means there's no selfishness in it, which means there's no corruption in it. The activity is pure, which means I can show up and bring all of myself to whatever task I am doing, which means that I leave nothing out. I'm fully present with the task. Time flies because I'm really enjoying myself. Because I'm not just there trying to get something. I'm not just here trying to get something. Life becomes about expression, expressing this love as opposed to trying to chase something. So the path forward is to stop chasing the pieces and let love make you whole. There's two ways to do this. Two steps, rather. There's two steps. Because we talk about love, but remember, love is the end of separation. It's not just an emotion, though it is present inside of the emotion. The emotion is critical. First thing you need to do, the emotion of love is critical. That feeling of love is critical, but it is not, do not make the mistake of believing that that's all there is to it. The feeling is merely the confirmation that you are in alignment with this great unitary force, that you are psychoneurologically in alignment with this universal substance. The feeling is critical, but don't miss the universal substance trying to call it just a feeling. No, 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 no. The feeling is your indicator that you are in alignment with this universal force. So the first step is to get into the feeling. You do need to do that. Oh, yes, that is required to get into that feeling. Now, you might be saying, well, that's easier said than done. How I do all that? Well, that's what we do here. Provide the practices that cultivate your capacity for getting into the feeling of love. You understand? For getting you into alignment with Source. For bringing you back into God's will. You understand? Love and God, same thing. Why? Because I'm talking about the nature of reality. You could just call it nature. Many cultures just called it nature itself. What I'm saying is you're throwing away your illusions, throwing away your delusions by aligning yourself with something that is unconditionable, unconditional, and unconditionable. Love is unconditional in the sense that nobody can force you to love something. You love simply because you love. It is its own reason for being. And love is also unconditionable. No one can train you, manipulate you into loving something. You simply love. Every other emotion can be manipulated. You can manipulate someone into lust. You can manipulate somebody into anger. You can manipulate somebody into confusion. But to get to that feeling of love requires going beyond any other emotion. So that's the first step. We got to get you into the feeling. Or when I say we got to get you, you got to get you into the feeling, surrender into the feeling of love. You understand? So that we can get to number two. Number two is a simple question. And it's the same question I had to ask when things were falling apart. Once you get into the feeling of love, the next question is you need to ask yourself, what would I love to do right now? Whatever that thing is, do that thing. And then in the next moment, ask yourself that question again. And you'll find that in each moment of your life, there is something that you would love to do at that particular moment. You string enough of these love moments together across the course of your life, each one of those moments becomes a day. Each one of those days becomes a week. Each one of those weeks becomes a month. Each one of those months becomes a year. Those years become decades. Those decades become your life. And if you can find a way, and it's closer than you think, to make your life an expression of love itself, you will be expressing God on earth. You will be an expression of God on earth. There is no higher facility. There's nothing above that. I started realizing that the only reason I wanted to reverse diabetes for the community and build this generational wealth, I was trying to make life mean something. I was trying to make me mean something. I was trying to live a life that I love. But the plan that I put forward for doing that was completely based off of partial solutions. Create this system, and then you can maybe tie it into this system and tie it into this one. And the whole time, I'm giving time, money, attention over to something that was completely out of frequency, completely out of love. When I say out of love, I mean outside of love. I'm not saying that it was an expression of love. I'm saying it was outside of it. That environment. It stopped me from thinking in whole solutions. So it's like, yeah, you got everything kind of working and everything's right, it's poised, it's ready to grow, but your life stops working. And it takes all this energy just to try and get yourself up out of bed. You don't even want to think about the work. Looking at the clock to try and make sure that the day is almost over. That is operating outside of the frequency of love. How many people you know live just that way? If you're understanding what I'm saying, just say, yes, I understand in the chat. Because I do want to make sure if anything is not clear, I want to make sure that we get that handled. Because once we start thinking and understanding that love thinks in whole solutions, and it can think in whole solutions because it is paying attention to the full weight of the cosmos. It understands what we are naturally inclined to do, what our basic contribution is. And we don't have to cogitate about that. We don't have to make that intellectual. We can intellectualize about it later, but it is not in that moment something that is a function of the human intellect. Though it can make use of the intellect in order to express itself, it's beyond the human intellect. So it doesn't even matter if you understand how it works. You just know how it feels when you're doing that one thing that you love in that moment. How it feels like time flies by. You look over at the clock and it's like, oh, dang. We've been here for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. It's been like, you know what that feels like. And so, what if every moment is like that? Guess what love does? It doesn't just have you staying at the office. Even if you love being at the office, at one point it's going to tell you to go have a meal. It's going to tell you to pick up this interesting book. It's going to tell you to make a phone call. It's going to tell you to do the things that are necessary that leaves nothing out of your life. So that by the time you sit back, what you don't have, you don't miss. And what you do have, you love. It is that simple. It is that simple. Because it leaves nothing out. It leaves nothing essential out. What you don't have, you don't miss. Because you have everything that is relevant to you in that moment. And so when things come and go, relationships will still come and go. Money will still come and go and come back again. Health will still fluctuate, right? I mean, the life force, it still continues. The life cycle still continues. But as change happens, when you're completely operating in love, what comes is allowed to come, and what goes is allowed to leave. You know you are not missing anything important because you have access to the universal source that makes anything worth it anyway. You have access to this universal source that makes life worth it anyway, in the first place. This is critical. This is the power of thinking in whole solutions and expanding yourself so that you are your full self rather than allowing desire to shrink you, rather than allowing ambition to shrink you, make you so narrow minded that you start trading parts of your life for other parts. Instead of thinking about the whole life. It's not about just building a business, it's about building a life. It's not just about building a great marriage, it's about building a life. It's not just about building a great body, it's about building a life. I can trust only one source to help me do all of the things. I can trust only one source to help me build a life. That source goes by many names, but here we just call it love. Okay, Twin saying, yes, I understand. Oh, hold on, let me make sure I get down here. Right, Sublime saying money and time, or and time and no money. Absolutely. Devontae saying, I need to hear that. Devontae saying, yes, 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 I understand. Definitely, yes, I understand. Jovan saying, thank you, Dr. Shawn, brother. You've helped me open up to love more. Now, that is the greatest compliment I've ever gotten. To open up to yourself more is the other way of saying that, Jovan. Right? Because this love, this is that universal force. All we're doing here is just remembering. And so, as always, I say thank you for being open to remember. Folks, the skill set that I'm talking about, it is the ultimate skill set. Eventually, where I want to show you, we can't handle everything in a single evening, but I want to show you that this love operating as a frequency psychoneurologically stabilizes your nervous system, purifies your emotions. Ultimately, it is something that eliminates neurotoxins, the ultimate healer to depression. That's just inside the body. But when we live from love, when we're actually bringing love into our activities and only doing the activities that we find loving in the first place, regardless of whatever the world is saying, what you end up with is the opportunity to realize that everything that is valuable to you, you have at this particular moment. Let everything else come and go. But this foundational frequency, it is the most relevant energy that you can use to build the life that you want. To build the life, I say want, that's the wrong word. To build the life that you love. Because the life that you love is way better than the life that you think you want. Just ask the people who got the life that they thought they wanted. They'll be like, oh, yeah, well, it's kind of a mixed bag, because then I get, I did this, I got the cash, but now, what I'm saying? I got to sit here and try and worry about the taxes every year. I got people coming out trying to ask me this and that a question about they want the money, they want cash, they want, what I'm saying? Like it becomes this issue. I met an NFL player at again, one of these networking events, right? And he was just like, it was like a business event. Everybody there was trying to grow their businesses and all that. Um, it's actually an Afrotech after party, but it was like a private one. And he was like, yeah, what I'm saying? Like he was like, I made enough in the NFL that I'm good financially, but my family's not. And if I try and take care of them too, eventually I won't be good financially. So he was like, so I'm here trying to make sure that I can grow what I have so that I can do X, Y, and Z. You dig what I'm saying? He dreamed his whole life to get to the NFL, went to the NFL. He was able to retire. But then when he looked, he saw that the life that he wanted came with some things he didn't want. That's to be expected. What I'm sharing with you tonight is if you can bring your activities under the dominion of love, then what you receive is appropriate for you at that moment. And what goes away, you don't miss. It doesn't even matter. So there's no stress over what you don't have because you know that you have the most important thing anyway. I can't underscore that enough. I can't underscore that enough. Okay. So if you're understanding the principle that love thinks in whole solutions, you're understanding the pattern that desire shrinks you, and you're understanding the path, which is to stop chasing the pieces and let love make you whole again, then you're understanding the lesson. And so, to that end, if you're choosing breakthrough tonight, send this video to someone you know needs this message right now. Because these lessons can change someone's life. This is what it's going to take in order to expand this culture of love-based healing, of getting people to this level of breakthrough where we say, oh, wait, yeah, why was I trying to operate based on partial solutions when I could have just been operating based on whole solutions? Solutions that don't have me cutting up my life and trading one piece against another, but solutions that build the full life that I want. So that at the end of my life, I can say, wow, I lived a life I love because I was love in life. I was the love. I was that. I was abiding in the love frequency. I followed the love frequency when it dictated my next steps. The Christians would simply say they followed the will of God. To that end, I want to make sure that I'm showing you something. I saw something that was Twin saying, bring someone with you next week. Absolutely. And thank y'all for bringing Devontae. Devontae, let me know that you are understanding what's happening on the Breakthrough Live tonight. That this message of love, I know somebody's got to have some type of, well, what do I do about the rent? And what do I do about the this? And what do I do about the that? Those are the questions I'm looking forward to. Those are the questions I'm looking forward to. In the meantime, I want to show you something. Okay, because we're talking about feelings and I'm talking about feeling as a psychoneurological link that the human organism is able to connect with substances that are so powerful that they govern the entire cosmos, and we're able to allow those same forces to govern our very actions, our very steps, our very activities. Indeed, this is what the Taoists talk about whenever you hear the term wei wu wei. It's called doing non-doing. That's the translation, which is to say that you are to surrender so completely to the will of God that there is no longer a distinction between you and the will of God. Surrender so completely to the way of nature, which is what the Tao stands for. The Tao just means like the way or the way of nature. Surrender so completely to the way of nature that there is no distinction, there is no self-consciousness, there is no barrier between you and natural expression, between you and doing exactly what you were born to do. What I'm saying is that love is that natural expression that allows you to do what you were born to do in this moment and the next. But in order to articulate this in a different way, I want you to see this from a slightly different perspective. I brought something for you this week. Let's get to it.
Fagin, the inventor of the microprocessor and a pioneer of conscious research, said something incredible after his own transcendental experiences. Feelings are quantum information.
So the moment I speak a word, I've made a feeling I had, I've turned it into classical information.
That's right. You take something which is private, can only be represented by quantum information. But the representation is not what you feel. The representation of reality is not reality, okay? So what you feel, only you feel, not body, you feel, and you know inside. And what you can say about what you feel is a small part of what you feel. That there is a deeper reality where the feelings and the fields exist.
They're not just reactions, they're messages, frequencies, coming from the deeper layer of your awareness. And this is why higher emotions feel different. Gratitude, love, compassion. This state raises the resonance of your whole observed window, syncing your mind, your heart, and your body into one coherent field. In this sense, meditation is the moment you stop feeling the avatar and allow the deeper layers of your consciousness to come online. When you close your eyes, you shut off a major part of the user interface, the visual rendering system. Your brain begins shifting from beta waves into alpha and theta. The same frequencies are found in hypnagogic state between waking and dreaming. Federico Fad.
Okay, so what we're getting here is this idea that feelings themselves are frequencies that emerge from consciousness itself. So we have to understand, this is the first time you've heard of these thoughts or these ideas before, then we must consider this, that think of consciousness. When we think about a universe, right? That's the simplest way to kind of put a mental model together of this is Imagine that you have a universe that is completely conscious. The space that makes up the universe is aware. It is awareness itself. And that awareness from time to time generates planets. That awareness from time to time on those planets generates water, ecosystems, people. And because everything in this universe is made out of awareness, everything in this universe has a component, the ability to be aware at a base level. That doesn't mean everything in the universe has the ability to talk. Everything in the universe has the ability to communicate ideas. It doesn't even mean that everything in the universe is thinking. It just means that everything in the universe has a level of consciousness. It has a level of awareness, and that all of that awareness is integrated. It is a single universe expressing itself through myriad forms, millions, trillions, a Googleplex, trillions and trillions and trillions of forms, but it's all the same awareness. That gets us close to this model that is being presented to you just now, which is that when we talk about feelings, what we are really talking about is getting back to this base ground of awareness, this base ground of consciousness, putting ourselves back in tune with this fundamental fabric of this universe, and allowing our thoughts, our behaviors, our directives to come from it. How does this consciousness choose to express itself in form right now? How does it choose to behave in form right now? Obviously, we know that feelings direct our behaviors. Whatever we're feeling conditions how we think, and what we're thinking conditions what we believe we can do, right? And so those feelings, as we're giving ourselves over to feelings of bliss, giving ourselves over to feelings of love, we start to think about the things that are most in alignment with that feeling. And so we start to do the things that are most in alignment with that feeling. You understand? So the idea here is that when we talk about feeling, when I say love is not just a feeling, I'm saying that love is both a feeling and it is what consciousness feels like resonating inside of the body, what wholeness feels like resonating inside of the body. It is what you, as a individual expression of this larger infinite consciousness, it is what you feel like when you are finally back in alignment with this infinite consciousness, this infinite field. So love is not just an emotion. That cheapens it too much. It's an emotion, but it's much more than that. It is an awareness of awareness. It is an awareness of this infinite field. And the beautiful thing about it is that this love thing, this love feeling, this frequency causes us to act in alignment with itself. So if this universal field of consciousness is the great ground of existence, then love is the great fingerprint, the great motivating force. You could call love the very hand of God that is actually pushing us in alignment with, pushing us to live in alignment with this larger field of understanding, pushing us to live in alignment with this larger domain of consciousness. Lesser energies, fear, anger, These always come from thought systems that fail to account for the infinite field of consciousness. Anger, fear, these are what happens when you start thinking of yourself as an individual separate from this infinite field of consciousness rather than as an expression of this infinite field of consciousness. You understand? That's why love is the superior feeling, because it alone is in alignment with this infinite field. That's why it is the governing frequency, the foundational frequency. When we put ourselves in alignment with love, we are moving as that infinite field, localized as a unique expression. Somebody say this is making sense in the chat. I want to make sure that I have not lost anybody. I bring this instruction to you. I bring this lesson to you, this message to you tonight, because I want to make it as concrete as possible that when we are talking about love, we are talking about a substance. We are talking about a force that directs our actions without us having to know and pre-plan what our next decision will be. We simply allow the love to live us. And only in being lived by love can we truly be ourselves. Everything else is an illusion. I got to sit here and pretend that I'm a person talking with you instead of acknowledging that, no, we are simply in a unitary experience, refracted through many focal points, many different specific and unique expressions of the same unitary force. To put ourselves back in love is to get back into alignment with that unitary force. There is no desire there. The reason is because there's actually no choice there. Let me explain that. I'm saying there's no desire there because there's no choice there. Love has a mind of its own. Love knows what it wants to do. It's not sitting here trying to guess, trying to think, trying to plan, trying to plot. It has nothing to lose, nothing to gain. Therefore, its expression is all that matters to itself. So love just keeps you focused. It does the one thing for that one moment. And then when it's ready to switch to something else, it switches to something else. But there's no choices. There's not like, oh, well, I'm choosing to do this thing I can love. I can do this thing I can love. I do this thing. No. Being lived by love, it does the one thing. And then when it's ready to shift and do another thing, it simply goes and does that other thing. There's not a menu. You're not sitting here trying to select. It doesn't bifurcate or partition reality in that way. It simply does. It simply is. It simply acts. And it just so happens that its actions happen on behalf of the whole. You may think it's just something that you love doing, but in actuality, the very thing that you love doing is the thing that benefits people beyond belief. And you won't even need Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, chef, to tell you about it. You know what I'm saying? Like once she said that, dude, I was like, okay, now I'm understanding. I'm understanding. It matters how I show up. It matters what I do. It matters the energy with which I do things. People can sense the energy with which I do things. They can tell if I'm coming off and trying to get something, or if I am expressing this divine frequency. They can tell. It doesn't matter if I leave it in a book. It doesn't matter if I leave it on a video. It doesn't matter if I leave it in a note. It does not matter. Software, whatever. If the energy with which I did the activity or event or built the product was energy that was in alignment with love, people will feel that. Even if there were otherwise mistakes made. But if I make something that to me looks perfect, but I'm just trying to do something to get something, it'll feel sterile no matter what else it looked like. That's what I'm saying. Because love is choiceless, it is also desireless. It's not wanting things. For what? It's only expressing itself. And that expression is expansion itself. And so if you turn away from love and try and just go and pay a bill, or you turn away from love and try and just go and focus on something that somebody else told you needed to do, that's shrinking yourself. And to never shrink yourself again is to let love live you. Y'all hear that? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, I think something's going on here. So Twin is saying this is making sense. Excellent. Kim Wolf saying I'm understanding everything being put down. And honestly, this podcast is touching my heart in ways I'm sure you'll understand. I am more than grateful for this live. Oh wow. Wow, Devontae. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. And okay, she says, I'm hearing yes, I understand. Yes, I understand. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so folks, there's one thing I need to actually go through, which is the breakthrough challenge. Okay, I want to make sure that people are getting this for the first time. If you've not heard it, here we go. If you're someone who is thinking that you've done the affirmations, the therapy, the shadow work, but you still find yourself reacting the same way when life gets hard, you know you should be happy. You've grown a lot, but something still triggers you. You keep falling back into old emotions, old patterns, like something deep in you still runs the show. You want real freedom, not just moments of calm. Everyone online is talking about letting go or raising your vibration, but no one gives you a clear step-by-step way to actually break these cycles that keep replaying in your life. You're tired of chasing healing. You want a breakthrough. If that sounds like you, it's because you haven't learned how to transform memory, emotion, and identity at the root level, leaving you controlled by your past instead of creating from peace. That's why I made the Breakthrough Challenge. The Breakthrough Challenge is your 6-week path to emotional freedom. Once a week, you watch one episode of Countdown to Breakthrough, complete one mini workbook, and experience one transformation. On episode 1, you'll break generational cycles. By episode 6, you become unbreakable. Hit the link in the description to take the Breakthrough Challenge now and become a breakthrough believer for free. Yes, we do filmmaking that creates this opportunity for meeting yourself, for this encounter with healing. That's what Countdown to Breakthrough is. Hit the link in the description. I really want you to make sure that I just can't get this thing out of my ear. Yes. Is that? Interrupting me while I'm trying to tell y'all about the Breakthrough Challenge. Look who it is. The Breakthrough Turtle. Breakthrough, what you got for me? What you? Yes, we got a new Devontae. He's in the chat. You got a special message? Okay, well let's see what we got here. Okay. Sublime's here too. All right. All right. So here we go. All right, Devonte. I guess this one is for you. Hey, so here we go. Break the Turtle saying, she asked, "You are in love. What does it look like?" To which I replied, "Like everything I've ever lost came back to me." Source unknown. Okay, Breakthrough. All right, B. All right, Sublime got her turtles in the chat for you. Let me repeat this one more for for the one time. So it's almost like this is like a passage from a book. It literally says, "She asked," as in she asked me, "You are in love. What does it look like?" To which I replied, "Like everything I ever lost came back to me." Hey, Breakthrough Turtle, man. Hey, dude, you spitting, G. Like that's pretty clean. That's pretty clean, right? This idea that love returns everything I ever lost. It's like in love I start to recognize that all of the time spent chasing after what the world conditioned me to chase after, all of the time spent in ambition, trying to get to be a higher version of myself or whatever, but trying to do it through willful action, trying to do it by showing up every day, by having the discipline, to find out that that was wasted time that crushed me. But to have it have led to love in the first place, it's like it made everything worth it. It's like the past doesn't matter because I got everything that I'm ever going to want or need right now. What I don't have, I don't need. What comes is welcome. What goes is blessed. What comes is welcome. What goes is blessed. It's like in love, it's like I've received back everything that I ever lost before. That's why Breakthrough Turtle is deep. Okay, B is deep. You know, we call him B because he's from New York. You know what I'm saying? He said he got underground loft out there. With his three brothers. You say someone named Master Splinter? All right, yeah. I'm sure he tight too. Yeah, Twin got the turtles in there. Twin, look at this. Look at this. Twin. Both twins throwing the turtles in there for you. Twin saying, "B never disappoints. Go through, go break through turtle." Yes, yes. Yes, you be doing your thing. You be doing this thing. It's like everything that I ever lost was returned to me. Now, Devonte, that was for you. So I don't know what that means for you, but I'm starting to make sure that I'm starting to see that Breakthrough Turtle be having a certain kind of vision. Breakthrough Turtle be having a certain kind of vision. You know, be like that though. But Breakthrough Turtle also has something else for us. You see, every week, Breakthrough Turtle is also introducing us to the breakthrough breakdown. In this segment, should I tell him? Let me go ahead and I know your voice is low. Okay, so in this segment, we're going to look at a piece of pop culture together and break it down with the principles that we've covered today, right? Because what I want to do is be able to show you exactly how these ideas apply apply when you're out in the real world and you're seeing what people are going through and you can see a reflection of them inside of you. I want you to know what to do. I want you to know what to do. So Breakthrough Turtle, without further ado, do you want to just go ahead and tee up? Just go ahead and tee it up for the one time. Okay.
The only people in your life who haven't stolen from you are your kids. Now that you are an adult, now that at least right now you're out of basketball, are you searching out other people to build adult relationships with? Or are you so, or is everything that's happened in your life is so difficult?
You want me real with you?
Yeah.
I don't leave the house. I play basketball and I go home. I don't care what y'all do no more. Like, all I care about is playing basketball all day. I go home and I try to talk to my kids as much as I can. I don't see them as much as I can because I'm not traveling as much no more. I don't know what to expect when I leave this house no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't talk to nobody. You know what I'm saying? I've reached out and I've reached out and I've reached out and I've reached out and I've reached out so more that I gotta die with some kind of dignity.
That's not sustainable. Like, you too young, bro. That's not sustainable, bro. You can still play ball. So that's not sustainable.
So I can come up here and I can tell you somebody else's life and I'm willing to do it. Hold on, I'm gonna turn my head back, but I'm gonna put a smile on for you and I'm gonna, like, bro, I'm gonna
You don't gotta put nothing on for me.
Or I can just sit back and I'm gonna tell you what it is. Like, I know that's not sustainable, but at the same time, like, what?
Please, none of us can do it. None of us can do it alone, bro.
Reach out.
Go out.
You
Go
have
out.
to change,
Go out
change
where?
the narrative.
Go out where?
Go out, talk to people, interact with people. Like, bro, real talk. I'll call us out. Us three. Bro, you be in Miami?
If y'all party, I don't party, bro.
No. We don't party, bro. I'm talking about you have kids, I have kids. Come to my house. We can get bounce houses for the kids. We can sit back on the porch, drink a couple beers, drink some wine, hang out. Like, bro, that's not a normal, successful man's life to sit up in the house like that. Like, you gotta find good people, and us three can be good people. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, it's not that. That's not.
Okay. My first question for you is this. You're seeing this dude, basketball player, who is trying to reestablish connections with people that are in his life. And he's on the Pivot podcast, and they're telling him that, hey, look, you got to go back out and start connecting with people. You got to go back out and start really getting in people's, don't just be in the house by yourself. Go out, go explore, go connect with people, go get back into life. And you can tell that Buddy's energy is a certain sort of way. I want you to be able to read when people's frequency is at a certain stage. And you can see that he's thinking certain things. My question for you is, if this young man were to come to you, how would you advise? Based off of what we covered today, how would you advise? Based off of thinking in our principle, our pattern, and our path forward, I'm really curious. Take a few moments. I'm really curious as to how each of you would answer. How would you deal with this if this person were to ask you, not in the sense that we go force our no, just but if this person were to come to you requesting assistance with this, like what would you say? Okay, so I think Devontae's saying it means to me That there's some things I must do differently and apply differently if I want to achieve. Absolutely. 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 Mm, absolutely. Yeah, I think just taking that time to be like, okay, what was his frequency really like? What's really good here? What's really going on with dude? Hmm. Just from that little bit of information. Okay, so Twin's saying he's closed in with his desires, is shrinking them literally, and we just saw that that's his pattern. Right though. Sublime's saying, I love being in the house and I think he should do what he loves. Hey. There you go. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Cool, cool. Yeah, so okay, so Twin's saying he's closed in with his desires, is shrinking him literally. Yeah, right. You can sense that there's this tension between, looking to reach out, but to him, it's almost like he's sticking his neck out every time he's reaching out because he was like, "Look, I gotta die with at least some dignity," as if it's a chore to reach out. Which means that energy is not coming from something sustainable because he already ready to stop. He's like, "Hey, look, he's like, look, I can turn my hat backwards and I can sit here and talk about somebody else's issues, but I'm being real with you right now. I am reaching out. I've reached out to these people. I have fulfilled the social obligation, the social contract. But look, it is embarrassing me. I have to live with this decision and I need to die with some dignity." There's a tension between, okay, I want, or at least I think I should want this life with these people. And I tried to make that happen, but I'm ready to stop trying to make that happen because it was too exhausting in the first place. Okay, so Twin is saying let's see. Twin is saying that's a tough one because on certain levels I agree with the gentleman, but at the same time he's living with regrets. Or at the end, he will see how life by design has passed him by. Yeah, okay. And other Twin is saying I felt for Buddy. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Like for me, I'm just kind of like, okay, first of all, I think sometimes the homies mess it up. You know what I'm saying? I think that sometimes people like, the host was basically like, "Hey, look, you got kids, I got kids, come over to the house, come kick it, come hang out, come do this, that, and the third." I'm cool with that if that is the appropriate solution. Like, are we getting at the root cause here? Are we getting at the root problem? You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like sometimes we project our how we would feel were we in that person's situation and we start suggesting solutions that we believe would help us were we in that person's situation, but not necessarily what would help them. And so it's kind of like, okay, well, in that case, let's get to the heart of this. What we know for sure, just by paying attention to his frequency, what we know is that there's a bit of resistance, that the life that this person has, there's a little resistance to it. This person is thinking, I've got these kids, I've got this family, I've got these people that I've been looking to reach out to. They're not responding. I have to stop making the attempt because the attempt is exhausting. And it sounds also like he is wanting to stop having to defend himself from stopping the attempt. He don't even want to be in the room trying to explain it to these people. It's like, listen, this is the decision I made. And so with someone like that, one of the most important things that we would need to do is bring them back into the love feeling. We have to get them back into frequency. When we say remember, we're talking about feelings are frequencies. They come from this underlying source, this underlying consciousness, this universal field. What we don't want to do is push our idea of what he should do onto him. What we'd rather do is bring him back into alignment with the universal field that already knows exactly what he needs to do. Because it could be the case that he does need to take a step back from those relationships. It could be the case that the time in the house, the time in isolation is cultivating the very solitude he needs in order to establish new clarity. We don't want to take that away from him by saying, "No, let's do a play date. You get your kids, I get my kids." Come on. Like we don't want to. And it's no shade at the Pivot podcast. That may have actually been what was on his heart, and no problem. But I'm just saying that I know I've seen it before, where the homies want to come through with an assessment that is based off their own projection of how they would feel were they in the same situation. And make suggestions that are out of alignment with what actually resonates for the person who is actually in the situation. So we don't want to sit here and muddy the water with our intellects. I don't want to jump in and try and figure out what I think is right. With a situation like that, when we find ourselves in it and when we see somebody else in it, the biggest gift that we can give to somebody is the ability to model for them what it looks like to be established in love, to be established in the love frequency. In other words, to be back at one with the God frequency, with that unitary substance. Should they ask for our assistance, then our first step is bringing them back into frequency so that they can trust that whatever the frequency is saying, whatever that feeling is saying, is the right decision for them at that time. For him, it may mean that once he gets back into the love frequency, all of a sudden he feels like, you know what, I can do one more call. It would be loving to actually make one more phone call. It would be loving to send a text message that just tells people exactly how much I respect them, how much I'm so grateful for them, in spite of it all. Whatever that frequency is saying, you have to trust that that is the right experience for you at that moment. Because when the frequency tells you to go ahead and pick up that phone call and make that call, don't be surprised when somebody picks up on the other line and says, "I was just thinking about you." Right? That synchronicity is critical. But we're not trying to engineer for that. We're just trying to get back into the frequency that has already calculated these steps, that already has adjusted for the myriad variables. We're not going to rely on the intellect in order to do that, because the intellect only knows a small fraction of what reality is. We want to rely on something that is far more gravitational, far more interconnected, far more precise than our own intellect. And so, yeah, I say all that just to say that Sublime, what I'm saying? I like that answer, which is that, you know, uh, I think he should do what he loves. I mean, honestly, for sure, for sure. It's just about making sure that he's in a place where he can understand what that means. And one of the greatest gifts that we can do for other people is to model what I'm saying. And I kind of want to show you this. Let me see if I can pull it up. Well, let me see if I can pull it up. So what I'm doing right now, I'm in the book, right? And what I wanted to show you today, I mean, I'm literally just thinking about it as we're speaking. But there's this part in the new book, it's not out yet, where I'm talking about love as an evolutionary force. And there's this idea about biological resonance. Now, remember, when I'm writing books, it's not like academic writing. I'm not trying to, you know what I'm saying? It's literally just channeled revelation. And so a lot of times I'll stand back and look and I'll be like, oh my God, that's really something. Ah, here it is. Okay, I did find it. Let me give y'all just a sneak peek. We ain't gonna do it like last time where I just end up reading for a grip. But let me show you this. Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can, because I want to pull this up. Boom. Okay, let's do it. All right, can you still hear me? Just put a 2 in the chat if you can hear me. Put a 2 in the chat if you can hear me. Okay, I need y'all to put a 2 in the chat if you can hear me when I flip to the screen. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Okay, so it's on this side of the page. Actually, let me just see if I can make this kind of bigger for you. So remember, I got this concept in here, this idea about a new human species. That when we choose love, folks, when we choose love, what we are actually doing is putting ourselves into alignment with these evolutionary forces. And that as we make these tweaks, well, I'll just go ahead and read it right here. This new species is called Homo amorous, the one of love. But there is still more, because Homo amorous is not just a distant species coming in 1 million years. Homo amorous is what you become right now when you choose love. I am saying that, and this is important, unknown to modern biological sciences, all organisms at a certain tipping point stage of evolution can consciously turn on a large sequence of genes that literally change those organisms into a new species, distinct from their birth parents, all through emotional habit, the psychoneurological change in thought and feeling. Homo sapiens sapiens have reached that tipping point stage where emotional habits can rewire the body and brain for higher evolution. Choose love now, and as small changes in your body occur today, those changes will heighten the quality of the sperm or egg you pass on to your offspring. But more importantly, the signal that you broadcast to others when you choose love today triggers tiny, unobservable changes in other people that enhances the quality of sperm or egg that they will pass on to their offspring. I'm saying that the signal, the very frequency when you choose love, that there is a electromagnetic signature that you pulse out like an EMP wave that you broadcast to others when you choose love today, that triggers tiny unobservable changes in other people that enhances the quality of DNA that they will pass on to their offspring. Love changes your wiring, but the energetic broadcast of love, made possible through the frequency of love, changes the wiring of those around you too. This is how humans choose their own evolution. Okay. So what I'm saying is that when I'm talking about, so you dig how that, like, bro, I can't wait. I mean, how long is it going to take for biological sciences to confirm that what I'm saying here? But I think we're thousands of years away from people understanding what this, you know what I'm saying? Like from at our current pace inside the universities, it feels like it's going to be I think this is quite advanced. So the point is that we've got this love frequency. When we can model it for others, it's like we're bringing them into frequency. It's like we're a tuning fork and they naturally sound off next to us in alignment with the frequency that we're carrying, because the stronger frequency must win. And love is the foundational frequency, it is the universal one, and therefore it cannot be partitioned. It is not fragmentable. It can't be chunked into smaller pieces. So there's no other lesser energy that's going to be able to topple the infinite. It's just impossible. And so from the Pivot podcast, just whenever we're dealing with other people, the important thing is to make sure that we're choosing the right frequency, that we're choosing that right feeling essence, that we're choosing that right alignment. Quinn saying, seeing that in my boy Maximus right now. Say more, say more. I want to know more. Sublime saying, no doubt love changes even how you see everyday things. Absolutely. 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 Here go Felicity. She's saying, if he is making his decision in the love frequency, then stay in the house. But it seems that it's coming from a place of hurt. Tune back into love, and those relationships you are meant to have will come. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Devontae saying, I think he should keep striving and trusting the process, although it's stressful. Yeah, I mean, he says, Savon says his kids aren't responding. I think that was the case. Um, Quinn saying, in my life, I don't think many people think how I think, so I don't have many friends. I don't party. I like good fire and good vibes. His root problem was he needs to find his tribe, not the existing. Well, if his kids are a part of that too, man, you can understand that that would be quite the challenge. You know what I'm saying? To be like, all right, I gotta go move on without the offspring. Like, that's a tough one. That's why I'm telling you, for me to say anything about what this dude needs to do, I think it would be, for me, it's just complete speculation. The only thing I know is if we can bring him back into the place where this love frequency, he can be responsive to it, he can feel it, he can sense it, then we can trust that it will provide everything else that he needs. And so really that's the piece that I wanted to share with you tonight. We talk a lot about getting into the love frequency, but I got to have you know, the way that we get into the love frequency in transcendent psychology is through the use of conscious transformation technologies. These are called kits for short. And as we jump into our kits for the evening, or as we jump into one particular kit for this evening, what we want to do is create the condition for love to find us. What we want to do is create the condition for love to find us. Create the opportunity for love to come and appear to us as a feeling. We are not about to force that. I don't think it can be done. Only reason I say that is because I remember training with everybody one night and getting that feeling, like I was like, all right, y'all, just go ahead and think of somebody that you love, and let's go ahead and create this feeling and this, that, and the third. And that's cool at a certain stage. At a certain stage, that will work. But if I pretend that every single person can just summon love on command, I think that would be naive. It's not that every person doesn't have connection with the divine. It's that through years of desiring, of shrinking ourselves, of being afraid that we won't have a life that we actually want. And so we're constantly chasing after that one thing. After years of doing that, it's really tough to break that habit and get back to allowing love to express itself through you. It can be a challenge. And so what we want to do is put ourselves into a place where we can create the conditions necessary for allowing love to reveal itself to us. That's what we want to do. And so, folks, before we jump into our kits, if you're choosing breakthrough tonight, but you're watching this alone, bring someone with you next week. Just like Twin did with Devontae today. Because this is how we expand this circle of healing. And break through to the next level. Quinn is saying with Maximus, so Maximus is Twin's son. With Maximus, I'm seeing that every day I put forth love, he responds to that. But let me go deeper. He came from a place of love. He was first created in my mind's eye, and he's literally projecting that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. And so, folks, I don't know how we'd be going so long. This is Breakthrough Live ain't supposed to be this long, but at the same time, like, how could it not? Folks, we have to get to our practice for the evening. The practice is something that you can come back to throughout this week until we meet again next week. But what we are doing with these kits is we're getting into a place where love can find us. Don't worry. After we get there, it becomes very easy to allow love to guide us. After you get there, it becomes very easy to allow love to guide you. But first, we have to open ourselves to it. One of the most basic, essential steps. Remember last week's kit, we talked about following thought, becoming so aware of what is happening on the inside of you that you can experience not just your thoughts, not just your emotions, but you can experience the emotions attached to your thoughts. You're watching how your mind puts meaning together. These simple skills we're going to bring together over time because I'm going to show you how love actually reorganizes the mind. But before we can even get to that stage, we need to make sure that we're opening ourselves to love. And so, without further ado, let's get to it. Close your eyes and take one breath with me. Inhale. Exhale. For healing begins when we are aware. At this time, simply ask yourself the question, am I aware? See that the answer is yes. Ask yourself, am I aware? See that without trying, the answer is simply yes. Become aware of the darkness, the blackness behind your eyes. Notice that you do not need to strain your eyes to see the blackness behind your eyes. You only simply need to be aware. Simply abide in the knowing of this awareness now. Notice that awareness does not flicker on and off like a light. Regardless of if sight, sound, taste, touch are present. This awareness, your awareness, is simply aware. Imagine that even if the body were to fall away, even if the body were to pass away, this awareness would still be aware. Simply abide in this awareness. The awareness that is aware of the darkness behind your eyes. Even if the entire world were to pass away, this awareness remains. This awareness, your awareness, is not inside of the body. The body is inside of this awareness. This awareness is not inside or on this planet. This planet, this world, this room is inside of your awareness. Abide in this awareness that is aware of the darkness behind your eyes. Imagine that. See that. All that is only because of awareness. The body, the world, do not exist outside of you. But instead exist inside of you. For they exist inside of awareness. Rest in this awareness. Ask yourself, am I aware? See that the answer is always yes. When thought tries to come and take your attention, come back to the question, am I aware? And see that the answer is always yes. No thought can disturb you. No world can perturb you. For all thought and all worlds exist within you. When you are aware. Take one deep breath in with me. Inhale. Exhale. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes. The point of that exercise is to put you back into the ground of reality, to help you understand that there is no separation between consciousness and reality itself, and that without separation, there's also no boundaries. And without boundaries, there is oneness, which means there is love. That simple exercise is the exercise we use just to set the conditions for encountering love. We know that if we can simply set the conditions and open ourselves, then love will find us. Indeed, if you're here tonight, it already has. And so I want you to know, if fear is our only enemy, then we bring heaven to earth when we transform our minds. I'm Dr. Shawn, and we were not sent to impress our people. We were sent to transform our people into a light for the world. For God's universe opens to all who believe in breakthrough.